every woman in the world, but we're talking about our queens. Every woman in the world needs a man who loves her without any interest of sexual intercourse. Listen to me well, black woman. In order for you to be healthy, you have to have a man you can go to and get emotional healing and support. And that man is so secure in his manhood and so in control of his hormones and his root chakra. See, black men, we got to get our root chakras under control. The black man has to get his root chakra. Black men, the reason why some of us are so hypersexual is our root chakra is out of control. We have to get our root chakras under control if we really want to serve the black sisterhood. I'm going to say it again. We got to get our root chakras under control so that we can be of better use to our women. Because
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. You know who it is, the blackest hearted, blackest minded, blackest man on social media, signing, blacking, and shining again, asking you to hit the mother cuss word share button because the message is more important than the messenger. Despite it being in the afternoon after a day of fasting, with about an hour and a half left to go with fasting, I heard this and I got riled up. Did you hear what this Nijja just said? Yeah, I'm going to talk to brothers and sisters today. This dude just sat up here and said every woman needs a man that's going to love them with no sexual interest. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to remind you that that man is the father, uncle, grandfather, brother, and son. It is actually very good for us men to learn, and most of us do. The thing is, many of us actually do have compassion for women, both sexually and non-sexually. We are actually capable of that. It's the women that have to learn, especially that broken, wicked witch of the West, white or black, that has to learn to actually respect a man that's not related to her, and yet shows compassion for her and does not try to get them draws. See, I've come to understand that women are the ones that have a lack of respect for the men that make good platonic friends. One reason I don't tell men to go out and start making a bunch of platonic friends with women to whom they're not related is because they don't know how to do it in a way that demands respect. Many men actually do pretty well at it, but still in all, a lot of women are looking for some kind of angle to get non-sexual needs met by one man and then to get sexual needs met by another man. So we already know how unbalanced this is, but you just heard the doctor in the same clip, same recording in which he's talking about beta male YouTubians. This is 14 minutes and 40 seconds in right now as I paused it. So he started saying this about 14 seconds and maybe 14 minutes and 35 seconds in about. And this is coming from King Kong Consciousness video. It's entitled, Dr. Umar Johnson on Black Beta Male YouTubian Life Coaches, Black Women Beware 5521. Dr. Brother Johnson, at this point, you're taking black men in a nutshell and you're about to castrate them or tell them to castrate themselves to a certain extent. And here's why I say it. It's not that it's wrong to be compassionate to women without a sexual interest. The problem is you are now focusing on this and you're not telling black men to do it for their own benefit. You're telling black men to do this for the benefit of the black woman who doesn't respect it anyway. You're telling black men to do this for the benefit of the black woman, to better serve the black woman. Bruh. Buck that fitch. The ones of them that actually deserve this are not walking around telling us that we need to do this for them. There are plenty of sisters out there that may deserve this because you know what, they treat men with respect. If they're not interested in that man below the belt, fine. What they don't do is turn around and use that man for all the non-sexual needs while they turn and use another man for only the sexual needs. That's what they don't do. If they're going to be thoughts, they're going to be thoughts, but they're not calling the respectable men at 3 o'clock in the morning saying, my tire blew out, I'm on the side of the road, come get me, come change my tire, when they're on their way from a ding-a-ling appointment with another man from whom they know not to ask anything. Those women aren't doing this. But you got the sisters, the black queens. You know who they are, Brother Johnson, because you could be that dude they'll call in the middle of the night. And if you know that they're on their way from a ding-a-ling appointment, you'll probably give them talk about that. But by the same token, if you don't know that they're on their way from a ding-a-ling appointment, they would know not to tell you because they're not going to listen to the sermon. They're not going to listen to you tell them about chastity and getting their root chakras in order. You need to tell the black woman to get her root chakras in order. Brother. She's the one with the upped up vaginal positioning system. A man will have sex with a chaste woman if that's an option, i.e. a spouse. You take that option away, which is what the society has done, what the sisters have done, and the only option is to have sex with unchaste women. And I'm a man that believes in chastity. As still a Muslim, may Allah keep me such. But by the same token, I'm not here to talk about celibacy per se, but rather chastity. They've taken chastity off the table. They will not offer this to you. And when you as a man come and you don't have a high body count, they can't even see you as a chaste man. They can only see you as a weak man. You just didn't appeal. Well, other women didn't want you. And now that I know I got a high body count than you, I don't want you either. That's what that's about. That's why you got these women with high body counts, Western women with astronomical body counts, and men with single-digit body counts. Single-digit body counts. Most men, 3 partners. Most. A few men, maybe the triple digits. Because a lot of the women are in the triple digits. You're not addressing that, bruh. No, I'm not here to invalidate the testicles and the genitals of man or woman and the needs that go along with them. I'm here to remind us that if we regulate them for the greater good, we will not regret it in the long run. Regulate, not sit up and just invalidate. Because what you said in the same clip, is if the woman is okay with a casual sexual relationship, you're not talking about that. No, I am. Because suppose the man's okay with it, but she's not. Then you're going to turn around and say, well, brother, you need to not be okay with it either. But you're still not going to say that for the man's benefit. You're going to say that for her benefit. So even when you tell men to do something that's good, you're saying it for the benefit of the sisters. Get off it, bro. Let's keep on going.
And get emotional healing and support. And that man is so secure in his manhood and so in control of his hormones and his root chakra. See, black men, we got to get our root chakras under control. The black man has to get his root chakra. Black men, the reason why some of us are so hypersexual is our root chakra is out of control. We have to get our root chakras under control if we really want to serve.
No, bro. That's not really the case. The reason that we're hypersexualized is because we're told to be, we're trained to be. That's why. Same reason that the Western white man is hypersexualized. I mean, on one hand, we're males, and so there's got to be like a base level of sexuality just for women to even be willing to consider marrying a man. But more so than that, we're over and hypersexualized intentionally. It's not because the root chakra's out of control. How did it get out of control? No, it's because we're in a hypersexualized society. And so it uses the images. And then not only that, but men are actually, when they're young boys, when they're in middle school, they're shamed for any inkling towards chastity, even though most men certainly are not sexual brutes.
The black sisterhood, I'm going to say it again. We got to get our root chakras under control so that we can be of better use to our women. Because every black woman needs a man that she can depend on for emotional support that doesn't lead to sexual abuse. And I'm using...
Listening to how he defines sexual abuse.
Sexual abuse in the general sense, not having sexually raped or anything, but having sex with a woman who really don't need sex can be a form of sex abuse. Having sex with a woman who really don't need sex, who's looking for love, that can be considered a form of sexual abuse, brothers and sisters. And so black men have to get our root chakras under control. So when sisters come to us, we can say to ourselves, not to her, this is a beautiful sister, but she don't need me for that. She don't need me for that. She need me to be a man right now.
Okay, you know what? How about, I got this better idea. How about instead of us saying to ourselves and not to her, okay, she don't need me for that right now. How about us saying, I don't need her for that because she needs some kind of healing. And if I were in need of healing, that would make me sexually unattractive right off the bat to her. So how about I don't need her for that? And that's not my job to help her heal since I'm not a counselor. So how about she take that mess and fit the guck on out my face with that short bit and go to somebody that can fix her? You missed that. Brother Johnson, you still don't get it, man. Can you go with your need for healing to a sister that's attractive and she take you seriously? Absolutely not. You got to be healthy mentally and physically and financially and all these other things, no matter how broken she is, for her to want to bend over your couch. So how about instead you tell brothers, man, look at yourself and say, you know what, man, why do you need that? Why does she get to be a mental patient or need to be a mental patient and still get that thing from you? How about you learn that you ain't that cheap? And ain't nothing wrong with you getting in the guts of a woman that is mentally and physically healthy and financially healthy. Not necessarily that she'll take care of you, but just she's okay by herself, so you know that she don't financially need. What's wrong with you getting up in her guts? I would say with a marriage contract, but the point I'm making is what's wrong with that? Because see, the women will preclude that kind of arrangement these days with or without a marriage contract. You ain't talked about that. You haven't said to them, how about you get rid of either your feminism or your hypergamy? Pick one, you can't have both. That's not even sustainable. I don't hear you saying this to them. And you gentlemen that are listening, and you ladies that are listening, this is something you're going to have to say out loud and consciously and stress to each other. You cannot have hypergamy and feminism at the same furthermucking time. So, now, let's say sexual abuse actually, by this he means the abuse of sex and not the specific sexual abuse of a particular lady. If he means the abuse of sex, okay, fine. I'm not going to argue with him about that definition. Fair enough. I will fuck the shuck up and let that ride. Since he clarified that. See how fair I try to be?
Don't need me for that. She need me to be a man right now. She needs me to be a non-sexual man. She needs masculine energy that does not have any sexual agenda tied to it. Women often need masculine love and emotion that doesn't have any physical intimacy tied to it. And I'm going to say this to all the black men listening. I'm going to say this to all the black men listening. I'm going to say this to all the black men listening. Until
How many times he gonna say the same thing?
you are strong enough to love a woman without sticking your Shango stick. Until you can say, Dr. Umar, I know some women who are beautiful and got a lot going for them. But because I know I don't really mean them no good, or because I know they really looking for a husband right now and not just a friend, or because I know I have enough women on my rotation as it is, because I know I have enough queens in my queendom, although I would love to experience.
Now, see right there, what you're saying is go ahead and be sexually excited, but don't validate that. Audience, that's what he's saying to you, gentlemen. Be sexually excited, but don't validate that. Or be sexually attracted to her, but don't even validate it. And the other thing he's saying is you should be saying to yourself, well, I got enough women in my rotation, enough queens in my queendom. How about we skip the royalty talk, because most human beings ain't royalty. And not only that, but understand this, gentlemen, what he's telling you to do is exactly what will make every woman refuse to be a part of your rotation. Be a man with no sexual requirements. I'm saying to you, control your sexuality, certainly. Learn chastity for your own benefit, never for hers. If she comes to you wanting all these non-sexual things and she's not trading something tangible in exchange for it, like money or another service, a non-sexual service, that is of equal value to you, then get gone. Politely, but bye. You ain't just gonna be all up in my space, getting all these non-sexual things from me, and you ain't bending the F over my couch. And even if you offered to bend the F over my couch, if you think you're doing me a favor, giving me, and you don't value my junk enough to see it as a gain for you, then you still need to fit the guck up out my face. Open up your house door and hold it open for her. Gone. This is what we need to be doing. Because when he's saying is, yeah, it's okay for you to always want to stick your Shango stick up in her, but you need to refrain from that for her benefit. No, man, shuck that fit. Because they're not refraining from what they want from us for our benefit. They don't sit up and there are those who do. There exist those who do, but our lives are not defined by the ones that do this. Just as they will define their love lives by the men that hurt them, and it's the same few men that hurt all of them. Our lives really are defined by the ones who will not refrain from what they want from us non-sexually. And will refrain from what they want sexually because their girlfriends don't validate you. A lot of women wanted you to, brothers, you need to know, there have been women that wanted you to dig them out. They wanted to make a wet spot on your bed sheets because you're their type, but they're friends. And then they will deny themselves that because it's still withholding, it's still denying you. And that's how they couch it, mentally, psychologically. But then again, those same ones will hold a lack of experience against you. Same ones. But when it comes to all the non-sexual things and all the irritations and all the annoyances, they don't withhold those things from you. And what Brother Johnson is sitting up telling you is that you should be prepared to deal with all the annoyances they're going to bring to you if you're going to get up in them guts. Then you should be prepared to deal with all of the annoyances. But that doesn't work both ways. He doesn't say to them that if they're going to bring to you the burdens and annoyances and everything else, they need to be ready to bend over that couch and give up them guts. Matter of fact, that should be a quickie because it should be about you and not about their needs. He doesn't mention that either. It's still you serving them and not reciprocally. All because some other dude they served not reciprocally. What kind of country mess is this? I'm so glad I left this sector.
And I am not going to let that sister walk into a... Umar, I know some women who are beautiful and got a lot going for them. My rotation as it is. Because I know I have enough queens in my queendom, although I would love to experience this sister.
See?
I'm going to be a real alpha male today. I'm going to be a real alpha male today, and I am not going to let that sister walk into a trap where she's looking for masculine validation, but ends up getting taken advantage of by another male. I'm going to let her know, sister, I'm not going to sleep with you. You're beautiful, you're drop dead gorgeous, but I know you're looking for more. And because I know you're looking for more, I'm never going to touch you. We are never going to go there. I'm going to be the man you can come to when you need to have a conversation about other men. I'm going to be the...
Wait, hold up, what? I'm going to be the man you can come to when you need to have a conversation about the other man. In exchange for what, brother Dr. Umar? Now, you said take sex off the table. We agree, but we even then we say to do the same thing, but for different reasons. So in exchange for what should she be able to come to me to talk to me about other men or any guy about other men? Well, he and I had a sexual relationship. Okay. And what did he have to do for that? See, what you're saying is write them off sexually, but don't want to do it. What I'm saying is actually train yourself, gentlemen, to the point you want to write them off sexually because you don't trust them. Even if you can trust their intentions, you can't trust them to actually be woman enough to be able to handle the same sex they're trying to withhold from you, and they're getting a kick out of withholding from you. Yeah, I'm militant like that. Take it all the way there. No, sis, we're not going to go there because, frankly, there are women out there that are more qualified to have sex with me than you. That's what it is. No, I don't hate you. I don't necessarily look down on you, but you got problems. I mean, the fact is, your vaginal positioning system's off if you have to come to me to talk to me about other men. See, brother Dr. Umar Johnson, these same women that are going to come to you to talk to you about other men that they're actually screwing are the same women that will sit up and tell you that they can see something in you with their third eye, but they can't see the laziness or the good for nothingness in the same few men they all want to screw, and for free. That third eye ain't always working, bruh. When you gonna deal with that?
Come to and get a hug, a real tight hug, and it not lead to nothing else. Black men, part of being masculine is being able to turn that root chakra down, turn down that root chakra energy, and just be a brother to a sister. In order to be an alpha male, in my definition, part of being an alpha male, part of being an alpha male is being emotionally available to black women in need of positive masculinity without it leading to a sexual escapade. Part of being an alpha male, in my definition.
In your definition, that's exactly the definition that women will never have. See, bro, in their minds, if you're not screwing somebody, you're not a male. Well, you're not a man. You're a male, but you're not a man. You're an incomplete. You're a beta man, because they don't look at celibate men as being anything masculine. Women cannot see masculinity in a celibate man. They're just not capable of something like that in many cases. Now, if they don't know he's celibate, fine. But if they know that this man is celibate, he ain't screwing someone else, they can't see masculinity in him. Not in the West. Some parts of the East, it might be the same thing, but certainly not in the West. So they can come to you and get a tight hug and it not lead to anything. These men are called fathers. Maybe brothers, maybe sons, maybe uncles, grandfathers, but these men, generally speaking, are fathers. Granddad he may live a long way away, he may not be alive. The brother can give platonic love, but it's not his responsibility to heal his sister per se, because he didn't raise her. But dad, well, he's the one that's responsible. And if sisters weren't so busy driving men out the house, one, by insisting on having children only when the man's not ready. Because understand this, when a man's trying to have them babies and she does get pregnant, she's ready to abort. But when these women will stop chasing these brothers out the house by insisting on only having the babies when they're not ready, when dad ain't ready, only then do you want to keep the baby. Hell, only then are you even willing to conceive, because you got 31 forms of birth control. Only then. And you see, men's options for birth control are maybe pulling out, and that's not reliable, condoms, vasectomies, and celibacy. Not abstinence per se, because abstinence means you abstain from certain types of sex, but celibacy is you don't engage in it. And see, when it comes down to that, when men actually, condoms, ladies will poke holes in them. When they want to conceive, they will poke holes, or they will go and get it out the trash can if you don't flush it down the toilet. They're not playing games. A hotel maid in New York utilized the contents of a used thrown away condom in a hotel room because she saw the man's ATM statement on the table, decided I'm going to have his baby, and he's on the hook for child support. Now, this may be an urban legend, but there was more than one source I read this from. It's still his baby. He never met her, but it's still his baby, so he's got to pay because he's rich. The hotel maid. Bruh, they can sperm jack and make a come up, and there's nothing criminally that can be done to these ladies, nor civilly. And these ladies are sitting up here wanting to have these babies with no input from a man except for financially. And sisters are doing this too. Been doing this. Took it to the next level from the white woman. They took it up several notches. And the law's going to allow them to do this. And you sitting up telling black men to be ready to give a hug to women they not related to. And it not turning nothing sexual. Yeah, we should be able to do that, but we should not be willing. That's the whole point I'm making. We should be able to turn down the root chakras, but not be willing to turn them down just for the good of women. What we should be willing to do to these ladies is to say, okay, I'm not going to do anything to harm you, but you ain't coming to me for healing. The fact that you need it, why should I screw you? And since I can't screw you, then what's in it for me? Now, if you're going to compensate me some other way, fine, and it needs to be worth it. But why should I? Otherwise, come to me for healing. Okay, well then I need to collect. And I'm not going to stick my ding-a-ling in crazy, so shuck that fit. So what else is on the table? Oh, nothing? Well, then you fit the guck going out my face and go to somebody that's a professional that does this for a living. Stop bothering me with your trauma, because I'm not allowed to come to you with my trauma. See, again, you're talking about men accepting sexual restrictions by women for the sake of women's convenience, but not the reverse. Man, shuck that fit.
Men in need of positive masculinity without it leading to a sexual escapade. Part of being an alpha male, in my definition.
Same masculinity they can't recognize themselves, bruh?
In my definition, part of being an alpha male, in my definition, is being emotionally available to a woman without allowing the relationship to descend into an empty sexual escapade. That's where we got to get, black men. America has made us too hypersexual.
Yeah, I did say that. America made us that way, and in the West in general. But, again, bro, you're talking about... you know what? Let's continue.
America has made us too hypersexual.
You said that already, bro.
America has made us, as black men, all men, but I'm talking to my brothers, America has made us hypersexual. And ever since slavery, 400 years, the black man has been trained to sexually objectify the black woman. For 400 years, the black man has been trained by the slave master to sexually objectify the...
So furthermucking what? Women have been trained to financially objectify men, and to make matters worse, it's oftentimes fathers and brothers that teach women to do this. I'm seeing that right here. Where I live, the economy's not getting better for a lot of people. And I talked to a rideshare driver one time. I said, hey man, with the economy getting bad, are dowries going down for marriage? And that man said, no, absolutely not. And I said, well, the dowry to marry your sister, let me ask about that dowry to marry her. Is it a dowry you could afford? And he said, no, it's a dowry I cannot afford. But no, we're stubborn like that. We're Bedouins, we're stubborn. We're going to raise the dowries when the economy gets worse, because we're going to make sure that our sisters and daughters should not have to experience poverty ever. And I'm like, yeah, well, they're going to. But anyway, good luck with that. So, yeah, we men have, so it's okay for them to financially objectify us. You want to talk about a European standard? That's a European standard, according to many of you guys. But we're not supposed to sexually objectify them, like even partially, even occasionally, even within the context of a marriage. No, bro. If I can't, see, I'm not going to always sexually objectify my wife. But if I can never sexually objectify her, she's going to have to go and find a co-wife. You know how your parents say, go out back and get a switch for me and bring it to me so I can whoop your butt with it? Well, there's a saying in many African languages, and there's also a saying in Arabic, you don't beat a woman with your fist, you beat her with other women. And I would tell my wife, if I can never sexually objectify her, you will not financially objectify me, and go out back and get me another woman to beat you with. You don't ever say something like that to a real man. Don't sexually objectify me. No, you say that to a man you're related to. And if you're related, he ain't trying to do that no way. You don't say that to a man you're going to be marrying. I mean, hell, I tell a woman, look, you know what? Okay, I'm Muslim, maybe you're not. What are your moral beliefs about sex? And you're not going to go beyond that to tell me not to sexually objectify you without me punishing you some other way. One, I'm not trying to sexually objectify women I'm not married to. But secondly, what about her own morals? If she believes in fornication with any man that's not related to her that she wants to screw, you know what? Fuck the shuck up. if I sexually objectify you, you better not say a furthermucking thing about it. My guilt for doing such would be my own because I'm the Muslim. But if she don't believe in anything being wrong with fornication as long as her guts are wet, how about she fuck the shuck up when I objectify her too? And that's how we men got to start thinking about it. It's wrong for me to lower myself to sexually objectify you when we not married. By my own standards. But you ain't got nothing to say about it, B-word.
Black woman's body and the black woman herself. For some of us, the black woman is nothing more than an object of sexual satisfaction. For many of us, the black woman is nothing more than an object of sexual satisfaction.
Brother Dr. Johnson, you act like we differentiate when it comes to women like that. Like we only sexually objectify black women and we don't sexually objectify other women. Bruh, let me tell you, when there are men out there that sexually objectify other women and they don't sexually objectify black women, you call them coons. They self-hate. So what you want is for us to sexually desire black women but not sexually objectify them. You ain't gonna get one without the other. I mean, come on, bro, which one is it? So I'm supposed to look at her as sexually desirable but always unattainable? Shuck that fit. Again, Dr. Brother Johnson, Ifatunde, you can fit the guck out. You need to fit the guck out our faces with that sure bit. And yes, I'm aware that I'm going in on you now and I'm not going in on Mr. Samuels. There's a reason for it.
Comes from the slave empire. That is part of post-traumatic slavery disease. If you are a black man in the...
Hold on, bro. So which one is far more likely to happen between any in any discussion about dating or in the Muslim context a discussion about marriage? Which one is far more likely to happen? I turn around and ask her questions about how big her poom poom is, or she turns around and asks me financial questions. Those two are not equally likely, sir. So which one is it? If I sit down with a Muslim woman and I talk about marriage, she's far more likely to ask me questions about my financial capabilities than I am ever to ask her about her sexuality, her needs, or even her dimensions. That's what's really going to happen. The real truth is I'm going to have to sit up and answer financial scrutinizing questions. And I'm not supposed to ask her the same ones. She could owe millions in debt, and I'm not supposed to ask that. But if she owes millions in debt, she's going to come to me later to pay it off. But I'm not supposed to ask her. Even though I'm within my rights to do so, I'm not supposed to ask her, well, look, you like quickies on occasion. Not all the time, but you like quickies sometimes. I'm not supposed to ask that. That's inappropriate. But you want to sit up and talk about we sexually objectify them. Bruh, they financially objectify us while they are part of the human resources apparatus in corporate America designed to keep out or to hold back heterosexual manly acting black men on behalf of white zaddy.
The main worth of a woman to you is her sexual abilities. Then you suffer from post-traumatic slavery disease. Now, don't get me wrong.
No, that's not what we suffer from, bro. Look, let's understand this. With women in general, you have to be older than her, taller than her, richer than her, stronger than her, smarter than her, right? That's hypergamy. Sisters don't generally sexually want men that don't have these things. And as a matter of fact, I heard one woman say that she will tolerate a man being dumber than her if he still makes more money than her and is taller than her and stronger and older than her. Because then she has all these superlatives in him, but she can still control him by simply using higher intelligence. So we actually, and that was a sister that said that. Other races of women don't generally want that either. But a sister said that. Oh, I'm actually okay with him not being as smart as me. And that's why it is that the Pookies and the Ray-Rays are the real men. We're going to take them over you educated lames. That's really what she said. I kid you not. Long as Pookie and Ray-Ray still make more money than her. And don't get me started on the sisters that love them some homosexual men, because they can kick them out when they want and probably call the cops on them whenever they want. I mean, a woman actually said this, Dr. Tiasan Johnson, and I say that with no sarcasm, showed that video. And that lady pretty much said, if my heart bleeds, your butt's gonna bleed, because you're gonna get raped in jail when I'm done calling the cops on you. That's what we're dealing with from your black queens that you out here defending, even though you're about to say later on in the same recording that you don't give the pass to them for their effery and for their BS. No, actually, bro, indirectly you do. You may not mean to do it, but you do. And the reason I'm going to say that, Dr. Brother Johnson, that you may not mean to give them a pass for, but you actually do give them one, is because you're recording this, talking about brothers. You need to be with us, because we're right and you're wrong, talking for hours at a time about the effery of the black woman and the betrayal against the black man. Because it's very few black men that are out here doing these things to black women. And it's very few men that black women will even allow to go this far enough to hurt them. Very few. It's a whole lot of sisters out there that are willing to do what they do to hurt black men. And most black men are not going to be able to find a black woman in the West that will not do these things to them, because the black woman that ain't trying to hurt nobody ain't willing to be with most of these men. You want to talk about PTSS, post-traumatic slave syndrome, or post-traumatic slave disorder, which I believe is real. Dr. Joy DeGroot talked about that. If you want to talk about it, talk about how it has led many black women to see absolutely no value in most normal black men unless they're going to use him in a way that would hurt him. And if it's not that, he's useless. Unless they can take his money, leave him broke, unfit for any other woman, he's useless. And don't want him to enjoy sex with him, even if they like sex. So they would rather cheat on him with someone else because they don't want to please the man that's actually in their lives. Look at Shira 7. She said it. Cheat on your man with randoms. Withhold sex from your man and get the bag, sis. Lie about your age to get the bag. Lie about your children to get the bag. Get the bag. And in the meantime, don't sleep with him. Sleep with other men. Everything evil is what they're sitting up here telling each other to do nowadays. And the women that say don't do this stuff, they get called all kinds of pick-me's and might even get beat up for it. Right now, you got a woman that's sitting up here telling women and men, telling men what they deserve and telling women, this is how you keep your man. She's an Indian woman. A black woman doesn't feel comfortable getting up and saying these things. And if they do, they better not say or show too much of themselves. Even Danica Marie, in order for her to do it, she has to show a titty tattoo. She has to. And she still gets called all kinds of pick-me's and stuff by the sisterhood. There's no brotherhood dedicated to getting out here and destroying black women, ruining them, breaking their hearts, nothing, anything like that. It's a few dudes they all want that are doing this. When the sisterhood as a whole is engaged in get the bag, sis, and cheat on him and bring him another man's baby to raise, he's so beta, and that's why he got that money. There's a sisterhood, the majority of which, either vocal majority or numerical majority of which, is telling black women that the only alpha men with money are rappers and professional athletes, and they're less than 1% of the population. You know how many sisters move out to Atlanta hoping they can find one? And if they get dug out by one, just dug out, then they start thinking, that's all I'm going to date and marry from now on. But those men that dug them out ain't going to marry them. And then they get mad at other regular men that would marry them. Y'all men ain't fit. That's what we dealing with. You want to see black love, sir? Sorry, bro. You need to go talk to the sisters that killed it. Black men did not kill black love. No, black men did not start the Snow Bunny crisis, bruh. Let's continue on.
Black women are gorgeous. I love 5'5" thick in the thighs. I love a
Oh,
curvy,
God.
conscious, nappy-headed, intelligent, can throw down in the kitchen black woman. Oh, yes, I love a beautiful black woman. Oh, yes, I do. Oh, yes, I do. I am a man with the urges and instincts of any other African man.
But you want to invalidate those same urges and instincts. Not necessarily use fasting to get them under control for your own benefit, or to weaken them, actually eat some, almost outright removing them. But you want to invalidate them. You know what? Maybe we should be more over-sexualized instead of less, the way you're talking.
At the same time, the God in me, the deity in me, the divine in me dictates that I control that root chakra and control those natural urges towards reproduction when I see a sister who needs more than that.
Yeah, well, what about when you need that? See, when you need that, black women are taught to not validate that in you because you're not rich, Brother Johnson. I mean, I know you took up a lot of donations for that school outside of what you were probably recording this, and that's fine and dandy. But at the end, it comes down to this, Dr. Brother Johnson, what about when you do need them draws? Because you're human. Even though I do say weaken them, weaken that need, control that need, I do say that. But when you're human, what about when you do need it? They are taught to not validate that because of the wealth you don't have. And as a matter of fact, let me be honest with you, you being pro-black in the eyes of many black women automatically lowers your marketability to them. Yeah, automatically they look at you and they actually respect you less sexually. That's what it comes down to. In the end, I've seen that. When you look at that movie, I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, and that brother sitting up there, pro-black, but he got that white woman with the braids and raising her kids like his own, which is ironic. The fact is that a pro-black man in many of these urban centers had a better chance of being with a white woman because black women were looking at these pro-black men as being less than. Especially when they did not compromise with the system, therefore made less money over their lives. Sisters didn't follow the morals, they followed the money. That was what sisters did. That's why it is that you got 2 kids, but they're probably the only 2 women you slept with. I'm not saying that to deride you, but I'm saying that to talk about the women's choices. And at the end of the day, Robert Smith can still go out there and bang many more black women in a day than you or I or most of us could bang in a year, because they're gonna follow. Because black women are also gonna follow the money, and most of their rage at black men is based on us not having enough to give them the lifestyles they saw white women have on TV. So let's continue, brother.
And a true alpha male can say, you know what?
Oh, I forgot. You said the God in you, the divine in you, the deity in you. Yeah, Brother Johnson, that right there proves that you have left the fold of Islam. That statement right there. Now, you've said some other things that have proven it recently, but this right here proves it. Because you know in Islam that God is on his throne, or over his throne, actually. He's even above his throne. However, he's not physically located inside of his creation. This is where we differ from the Christians. The Christians say that God is everywhere. We say that his hearing and his sight and his power, his jurisdiction, his dominion are everywhere, but his physical location is above his throne. And his throne is at the top of his creation. But you're talking as if God is physically located in you. That right there, no, bro. See, that's one of the problems we black folk got. With all of our talents and skills, and God-given talents and skills, might I add, we turn around and want to act like there is no God, but then we want to call ourselves God, or say that God is in us. As if the Lord is going to fit inside of any box or heart or body, for that matter.
This time, not under these circumstances. I'm going to be a source of masculine support for this black woman, no matter how beautiful and single she is, and I'm not going to let it turn into a useless sexual escapade where she goes home feeling used and abused. I'm not talking about a sister.
You know, man, when I was younger and I had more female friends, I actually felt more used and abused than I ever sent any of them home feeling, because they would bring annoyances and irritations and problems. And in the end, sometimes even blaming me for what other men did. Most of us normal men have that experience. There are far many of us who went home far many more times feeling abused and used than we ever, numerically or the number of times, ever sent any black woman home feeling.
Who is only interested in having a friend. That's different. If a sister just wants a friend and she's cool with that, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about sisters who you know are thirsty for a husband, thirsty for...
Well, see, you said you're not talking about that if the woman is just looking for a friend. And granted, I understand why you would not interfere in such when they themselves are okay with it. The problem is, again, you're still ding-a-ling policing men and you refuse to vagina police these women. But they're the ones with the vaginal positioning system that is off, looking for hybristophilic men. Or rather, they're hybristophilically looking for violent men. Pookies, Ray-Rays, thugs, men they're looking to fulfill themselves sexually with the men that don't have and don't produce. And unless, of course, they are professional athletes or rappers. But then they want the resources of the same man they don't want sexually.
A meaningful relationship, thirsty for a long-term relationship, and you are not the one to give it to her. Can you just stand by her as a brother? Can you be the shoulder she needs to cry on once in a while? Can you be the brother that gives her the hug once in a while? See, the reason why some of the coons in the chat, the reason why some of the beta males in the chat can't understand, overstand, or understand what I'm talking about. The reason why some of you beta males in the chat can't understand, overstand, and understand what I'm talking about is you have been mentored by beta males who have positioned the black woman as their enemy. You have been
Actually, bro, the beta males that mentored most of us saw the black woman as some sort of unattainable goddess, always to be desired but never acquired. That's, and if you do, you hold on to her and all of her crap. Those are the beta males that talk to us. See, to you, I'm a beta male, Dr. Brother Johnson. Because I understand that sisters been treating us as enemies for a long time. Now, I have seen the loyalty of black women. I myself have seen that. But you see, when I talk about how violently and dangerously racist other people of color may not be, meaning they have biases, but they don't necessarily extend to violence and danger to black people. When I talk about the level of violence and danger their racism does not come with, I'm told, well, you just don't know about that because you light-skinned and you had straight hair, so you look like him, so they're not showing it to you, but it's there. That's what I'm told. This is what I'm told oftentimes by people that sound exactly like you. But see, if that's true, then I have to flip that and say that maybe the loyalty that I did see from black women was because I'm lighter and had straighter hair. Although when it came to romance and sex, I actually didn't see that. I saw actually a worse treatment than what they would give in other brothers. Because at the very least, they could be seen out in public with other brothers. They felt they could not be seen out in public with me. And I'm glad I don't live in the States, because I know it's changed in the last 7 years since I did live there. When I last went in 2019 to the States, I was in a Midwestern city for a while to talk to my wife's family about marrying her. In the mall, I saw a bunch of black women with white dudes. And I don't understand it. But now I kind of understand it. However, I've seen the loyalty that black women can bring, but I've also seen it vanish and dissipate over the years. Hell, just on YouTube. Not only that, brother, I've also seen where black men will show loyalty that black women won't. I've seen black women go out and protest even after George Floyd's killing, his murder. I saw that. Then sisters were talking about how come brothers ain't out there protesting. I saw how the cops reacted. I saw how the cops treated them. Now, 4 years before that, when Alton Sterling was killed, after Philando Castile was killed, I saw the protest. And I saw how those men reacted when it was black women too. I saw that. I saw how the officers reacted to just black women out there protesting. But one thing they did not do was go straight to shooting. If it had been black men in them streets in large numbers, they would have gone straight to shooting everyone. End of story. We can scare white folk, but we cannot scare them into making the right moral decisions. Sisters know this. Sisters know that's why they can get into HR positions. Brothers have a hard time climbing that corporate ladder, especially manly acting heterosexual black men. I know. I've dealt with that in Atlanta. Sisters moved up. Men that were a little bent at the wrist moved up. I'm going to be honest. One of the reasons that Mr. Samuels was able to move up in corporate America whenever he did do so is because of the softness of his manners. Now, I don't expect him to agree with me, and I'm not even saying this to knock him. But at the end of the day, if he sounded more like you just in terms of the pitch of his voice, he would not have been allowed to move up that much.
By beta males who have raised you to believe the black woman is your problem. I had a beta male say earlier, Dr. Umar, black women been in charge of the black community for 60 years.
That beta
No,
male
she
was
hasn't.
right.
The white man, has been in charge of the black community for 400 years.
That's where you're both right. The beta male has been in charge. The beta male was right about who's been in charge for the last 60 years. She's the second in charge of it. If she runs things differently in a way that's convenient for us, that white man's going to step in because he's the main one in charge. It's just like a governor that gets used to governing his own province like he is the king, but then the king shows up. That's what this is like. White man is king over the black community. She's the governor.
The black woman does not control the criminal justice system. The black woman does not control the legal system. She does not control the economy. Just tell the truth. You have been mentored by beta males who have made the black woman the scapegoat for what the white man has done to you because you are afraid to challenge your oppressor.
Well, we're both afraid to challenge our oppressor. So the difference is that the black man will still challenge the oppressor more than that black woman will do it. That's where the difference comes in. And yeah, I mean, we're all afraid of them. To a certain extent, they're afraid of us too. Maybe less so, but they are. But see, we're not sitting up here just turning on black women because we're mad at the white man and we can't fight him back. We're turning on the sisters because of their complicity in it. Because we're sick of them telling us to go and storm the bastions and fortresses of white supremacy while they sit back and reap the benefits that they think are going to be waiting on them at the end. The same lifestyle that Miss Ann has. That myth of white womanhood. We're sick of that. We're sick of him saying, well, you know, this man over here, this guy that's in prison, he's a real black man. He's alpha. You was square. That's why you ain't been to jail, because you ain't done nothing. He's a real man with his tats and his felonies on his record. I don't want you to put me in a safe environment. I don't want that. I want you to make me safe in a rough environment. Pretty much saying, I don't want to live in a city with you. I want to live in the jungle. You need to protect me from lions and gorillas in the jungle. Don't build me a house in the middle of a village. Shuck that fit. That's so beta. No, I want a man that I can live out in the jungle with. And when the lion sees him, he goes running. That's what they're pretty much looking for. And we're sick of that. We're sick of being financially objectified, then being told not to sexually objectify them. We're tired of the attitude, Dr. Brother Johnson. And we need to be sick of it. Because what they're tired of in us is really nothing other than just us being normal men with human limitations. Same things that the white women are sick of in their men, except exaggerated. That's what we're sick of. We're sick of them being sick of us because we're human and got human limits.
That's why when the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy is open, there will be code of conduct on this campus. There will be a code of conduct at the Frederick Douglass High School. There will be a code of conduct at...
There will be no Frederick Douglass High School. There will be no Frederick Douglass Middle School. There will be no Frederick Douglass Elementary School, or named after Marcus Garvey for that matter. We've been waiting, we've been waiting, we've been waiting. As far as we know, there will not be one. And I hope to be wrong, I really do. And don't ask me, well, Brother Black Man, what have you donated? I'm an anonymous person. I'm not supposed to sit up and tell you exactly what amount I've donated. Or even if I've donated, I got to remain anonymous. Because me telling that my message is actually something that is offensive to white supremacy. I tell black men, no. Be with any woman whose people have not been our enemies. That's what I say. I don't tell black men, stay with the black woman. I say, stay away from the white woman because their people are a problem. I sit up and I say, don't ever exonerate white supremacists. I sit up and I say, don't exonerate that white cop necessarily. Just understand that when it came specifically to shooting Ma'Khia Bryant, he didn't know what he didn't see. That's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. I'm the one that says we're not going to sit up here and castigate Ma'Khia Bryant in front of these white folks to make them happy. But between us, we have to know what the situation actually really was. He did not know she was a teen. She was about to stab someone. The lady she was about to stab happened to be a passerby from what I heard in some of the reports. Maybe not. But in actuality, it was that foster mother that really wound up getting her killed. And the father was there to protect her. But why was she not in the father's custody? Because it's set up that way. I don't know the father's personal situation. But knowing what I know now, I could make excuses for him that would be legitimate all day long.
Black power. Yes, sir. Shout out to Wilmington, Delaware for standing by
Okay, I could agree with that. Black power. Yes, sir. Okay. But listen to this.
the Prince.
Shout out to Delaware for standing by the Prince. Bruh, you have made yourself into the Prince of Panhandling and not the Prince of Pan-Africanism. And I don't say this out of hatred, man. I'm saying this for one simple reason. You're asking for financial donations and you're asking for people to go in and do things for free. Which one is it, bruh? I think that black skilled workers should go into the school, but they should still be paid. That's a part of it. So you could ask for financial donations to get the school up and running, but then that also means that you're going to have full financial disclosure. That means you're going to have to pay certain things like certain taxes on the property and everything else. But when you sit up and say, come do this for free while I still collect donations and do this for multiple years and don't respond to people that have been actually offered to do things to help out, while you're doing that, Brother Johnson, that turns you into the Prince of Panhandling. That's not a title that I made up. I'm not that creative. I didn't think of that. I forgot the name of the commentator who did. But you see, as a man that was pro-black, there's still a part of me that does not want to see you actually become the Prince of Panhandling. However, since somebody already came up with it, I want you to know now that that's the title that's going to wind up sticking. Not because of me. I just saw it, read it, and said I saw it, and I don't want this to happen to you, but it's already on its way. But now the next thing that he's about to say, audience, I want y'all to hear this. This is very important.
And black women, I want all my black women to know something right now. I am not condoning your bullshit. My beautiful African queens, I'm talking to you right now. I'm not condoning your bullshit because some black women are on some bullshit. Some of you play keep away with the kids. Some of you take good men to child support who was already taking care of their kids. Some of you will bring good brothers into your life and you use them as an emotional crutch just to get your baby daddy or ex-husband to pay attention to you. I am not condoning the bullshit of black women. I am not saying that the black woman does not have faults, because the black woman has faults just like the black man has faults. But I am concerned about the example that black men are sending to young black boys right now in this country. I am concerned about the message that black men are sending to young black boys in this country when a 16-year-old girl gets 4 shots to her heart. When a 16-year-old girl gets 4 shots to her heart in Columbus, Ohio, and a whole bunch of weak-ass, no backbone having beta males will get on the internet and defend a white policeman. will defend a white policeman who shot 4 bullets into the stomach of a 16-year-old black girl. I cannot condone that. No damn beta males. All these young brothers out here claiming to be masculine. All these young brothers out here claiming to be masculine, and all you doing is attacking women. I'm seeing entire threads on social network of black men talking about everything wrong with black women.
Well, sir, that's because we're now beginning. I mean, it's been years that we already started discovering exactly what their roles have been in white supremacy and the facility of it. We have mostly what we have discovered, sir, in terms of history, like in the book Daughters of the Trade, which has been referred to me by others. I don't have a copy of it yet, but I might have a PDF. You see, the thing is, Dr. Brother Johnson, what we're finding out is that black women have demanded far more race loyalty from black men than they've ever been willing to give in exchange and in return. You said yourself that they are advertising interracial marriages and couples. They're not selling the white woman to the black man because we've already had a snow bunny crisis. No, the difference is that the white woman can get a black man by going up to him and making an approach. Because women can generally approach men and succeed. At least more than men will ever succeed in approaching women. Now, on the flip side, sir, they are selling the white man to the black woman. Actually, that's not what they're doing. What they're doing is they're selling the black woman to the white man. You said they're selling the black man to the white woman so that she won't try to go down and get her men out of jail. And I actually applaud you for saying get the men out of jail, because that implies that they would have to do some leg work, if not combat. And I like putting that on them only because they put that on us all the time. We are scared of that white man, so that is very true. I fear them. However, we don't sit up and just attack women because they're easy targets, sir. We actually only voice an attack because we're finding out that they've demanded more loyalty than what they've ever been willing to give in exchange. We are supposed to sit up here and act like we're owned. Sit on the sidelines, holding our testes, waiting to be selected, while they only select the same few bad dudes while they are young and fertile and tight and nice to look at, and childless and lightweight. Then when they get all the trappings, all the changes that come along, they're looser. Yes, I'm talking about downstairs. They're looser. They done pushed out some other men's kids, got stretch marks, big as a house, bad attitudes, can't pair bond, all that stuff. Now they're nowhere near the value they would have been before. Then they come and they start selecting normal men like you and me. And what we're saying is, no, shuck that fit. And then when we call them on it, they say, well, you didn't do anything. And the white man this and the white man that, and the black alpha male over here this and the black alpha male that. That's why he's in prison. He's a real man. So I got to go to prison and be locked up with other men and fight other men off my butt to be a real man. I got to be locked away from the women to be a real man if they would want. The hell kind of paradox is this? And black men are going to leave black women. Most black men actually aren't even going for the white woman, because we know where Sapphire got this from. She didn't get it from back home, at least as far as we know. But apparently, when it comes to that book, Daughters of the Trade, which was written by an au fait woman, to be honest, but apparently when it comes to that book, so a lot of this started back then. And I'm going to ask a question to those of you in my audience that have read the book. A lady in my comment section, to my audience members, this question is addressed. A lady in my comment section said that fathers were forcing their daughters in Africa to marry these Danish slave traders. If you read the book and you saw any reference like that, please tell me. If you read the book and you saw no reference like that, please tell me. If there is a reference like that and you can remember the page number, you can remember the words, let me know. Because I think I can find a PDF. I might have been sent the PDF before. I'm trying to remember if I was or not. And if I was, I certainly saved it. But I want to be fair to that commentator before I say no, they didn't. So anyway, getting back to this, Brother Johnson, I generally agree that we can't sit up here and exonerate a white cop for shooting her 4 times. I generally agree with that. Because a black cop can't shoot a white woman holding a knife about to stab somebody 4 times. But then again, if he doesn't shoot her once and she stabs someone while he's got his gun out, he's in trouble anyway. So you see, a black cop's is, like I said, a black cop's in trouble no matter what. Doesn't matter. Black cop shows up, unless everybody changes their behavior because he's there, he's in trouble. We already know Muhammad Noor shot through the car, killed Justine Diamond. That's not even her real name, actually, but I forgot it. And we know he got sent to prison for 12 years. We know that story. So I don't condone that officer because he shot 4 times. Now, he had to shoot at least once, but he shot 4 times. I get on him for that. I really do. And I don't even put it on Ma'Khia Bryant. She was a teenager in the foster care system being ganged up on by adults, called the police, but you know who does bear the blame for that, sir? Dr. Brother Omar Ifatunde. It's that foster mother. She'd been doing this. She had other complaints from other kids in the system. Maybe the complaints were true and maybe not. We don't know. But she'd been doing that. She'd been calling these old prior foster kids to come over and try to intimidate Ma'Khia and even beat her up. And this day, she called for help. It was sad and it was unfortunate because I think the lady she was about to stab was a passerby. But as I said before, I think she was in a panic and anger. Most of us are actually willing to acknowledge some level of nuance about this. This does not mean, as you said, you're not going to excuse the black woman for her BS. Well, that's what we're saying. We're not going to excuse them for that. But here's the funny thing, brother, Dr. Omar Ifatunde Johnson. I have the video now paused at 26 minutes and 43 seconds in. The video was 29 minutes and 50 seconds. You started about 2 minutes before that talking about you ain't going to excuse black women's BS. That means you went about 24 minutes talking to black men about black men, how wrong we are, beta male, YouTubians, all that stuff. You couldn't start telling sisters what you're not going to tolerate from them without winding up going right back into talking to black men about how wrong we are. It always comes down to that. And that's why we got to go in on you and drag you and not drag Kevin Samuels, even though he drinks his tea or drinks the Red Bull on the show with his pinky finger up. That's what we got to do, man. We got to drag your butt for this because we know further mucking well, most black men ain't part of the problem. We got brothers coming in on my channel, leaving comments under my videos, telling me what their mothers done did and how their aunts and sisters and cousins was in on it. Listen to Jay Cash's video. His mom didn't tell him the games that women play. His sister ain't tell him. And the women in his family are looking at him like he's some kind of failure because of the success he's not having with women, but they didn't tell him what games women were going to play. So he had a child with a white woman. At the very least, see, sisters didn't want it. It's a long story. The point I'm making is that that's one person that heard my channel when I talked about the gender-based colorism that black women practice against black men of both genders. Stereotyping the abundantly melanated brothers being good for the bedroom, enough testosterone, but not good for anything else, assuming he must have bad credit and have nothing going for himself. Stereotyping lighter-skinned men as being weak, feminine, not good for anything really, and only having some material success in life because white folks give it to them. In a nutshell, because sisters are getting more sick and tired of having to deal with any of life's trials and tribulations. This has actually led to them being more hostile to black men in general, all shades. He had to deal with that. I've had to deal with it. Abundantly melanated brothers have had to deal with it too. They're just less insulted in the short run if they get picked for casual sex. But then they start to see the insults that come later on. That's why we have to have these, we got to sit up and start telling each other what the black woman has really been doing. Yes, the black woman has been in charge of the community from the inside in for 60 years. The white man from the outside in for 400. So you and that so-called beta male were both right, but it comes down to this. We black men have suffered because of the white man, the white woman, and oftentimes the black woman. And the black women that had nothing to do with this are silenced. I know they exist, but we'll never know how many they are because they're silenced. They're threatened. If they come out and speak out against this, they will get beat up. My own mother told me that this would have happened to her years ago, back in 1999 or 2000. She said this would have happened to her had she spoken up against what she was hearing these young, ratchet, trifling B-words saying in the hair salons. Back then, she said they would have ganged up on her, tied her down, and shaved her head. And the hairdresser would have been a victim if she had stood up. I remember my mother telling me that she was paying her hairdresser more to open her salon outside of the normal business hours for special appointments so that she wouldn't have to hear the ratchet mess these sisters were talking about doing to brothers. Well, girl, I'm going to withhold sex from that man to get what I want. Well, girl, where you going to get your itch scratched? I screw somebody else. He the one that's got to wait. Sitting up here telling each other to be whores in general and then turn around and make another man wait and pay for the same puss they giving for free to somebody else. My own mother heard them talking about this. And even then, my mother did not tell me everything she heard at that time. Some of that information came later. The fact that they're not willing to tell young black boys, even their own sons, what games they know that other women are going to try to play on them if they can, means that they're in on this. That right there is enough. I had to tell my son, Dr. Brother Omar Ifatunde Johnson, I had to tell my son when he was 13, listen, son, they're going to be moving. Your mom and aunt are going to be moving down the street. Listen, son. You're going to have to fake a back injury. What? You're going to have to fake a back injury. When you pick up something that's heavy, one thing, pick up one heavy thing. And then after that, show signs of having back pain. Why, Dad? Here's why, son. You're only 13. You ain't no grown. You ain't finished growing yet. They're going to put these heavy things on you, one heavy thing after another, after another, after another. Go ahead, Iron Lion. You the man, because his nickname is Lion. Go ahead, Lion. You the man of the house. Pick up. There you go. Pick up that big old heavy couch and put it over there. See how strong you are? So I don't know where that came about. My elbow touched the screen. That's what it was. Sorry. So anyway, I'm not even going to play the rest of that video by Brother Johnson. But anyway, Dr. Omar Ifatunde Johnson. I had to tell my son this because I somehow knew that his mother and his aunt and grandmother were going to put him to picking up all the heavy stuff, even though he was only 13, not yet finished growing. And it was going to be bad for his back if he did it because I went through the same thing when I was a grown man. It's even affected the way that physically that I have to pray when I say my 5 prayers. I still say them, of course, but it's affected physically the way that I have to perform these prayers. And I was grown. But I had to tell my son, and I'm so glad I told him. This is before I knew about a black manosphere. I got this from my own father. And I'm lucky I had him in my life. Because as bad as I've had to suffer because of the American black women in my life, I would have had to suffer a hell of a lot more if it had not been for him. So I told my son what they were going to do and how he should do one, fake a back injury so that he could get out of having to pick up too much heavy stuff with at least somebody to help him with it after that. And he later on said to me, Dad, you were right. Dad, you were right. They wanted me to pick up all the heavy stuff, and I had to fake a back and I had to fake pain in my back. It actually did hurt a little bit, but it was nothing big. But I had to like exaggerate it so that they would help me pick up the other stuff. It's crazy, Dad. Just because I'm the only guy in the house and I'm only 13, they still wanted me to do all of that. I don't mind helping them out. But they were going to stretch me beyond the limit. Look at all the heavy furniture in there. They didn't even want to help me with it at first. I would have helped them, but they didn't want to help me until I acted like I hurt myself. That's what my son in a nutshell was telling me. He was 13 at the time. That's why his voice sounded like that. Now, my son, straight red pill. He knows. He doesn't want to get with the white chick. His friends don't want to get with the white chicks. They're dodging the white women. The black women will not approach them. Not yet. But they're dodging the white chicks that will approach them. Get this though, the white chicks will approach them skinny, childless, and submissive. I told them, understand that the black women learned this stuff from the white women and just took it to the next level. But my son, Dr. Brother Omar Ifatunde Johnson, my son now knows. I didn't have to tell him about MGTOW. I only had to tell him that there was IBMOR and SYSBM. He told me about MGTOW. He told me why he's not going to be making approaches to Western women in general. He told me why he's going to go to Southeast Asia. Now, mind you, he told me this in 2019. I started talking about Southeast Asia in 2017, 2018. The only reason that I'm thinking about monetizing my channel now is to help me with the trips going back to the States in the summertime between school years. It's the only reason I'm thinking of monetizing it. And that way I could do more with the kids when I go. And one of the onlyest reasons I want to go back this year, and I don't think I'll be able to afford to go back this summer, but one of the only reasons I even want to go back this summer is because I want to be able to tell my dad how right he was, and to tell my son how right he's been. That's it. I want to sit both of them down and tell them, Dad, you told me this about women, and the vocabulary was not there to explain more, and I understand that. You did what you could with the vocabulary that was there at the time. There was no internet, there was no social media, and that's cool. You did all you could. And I wish I'd understood what you were trying to get at. Son, your granddad tried to explain these things to me. You have found these things on your own now on the internet, specifically through social media. And so what I'm going to do for you, son, is this is what I'm going to do. And this is why you need to get your passport before your sisters do. And this is what you're going to have to do for your life. You have options, but these are the options you need to eliminate because they're not going to work for you. It's that one talk I need to sit down and have with my dad and my son at the same time. And to sit down and tell my son face to face, this is what really happened. This is really how you came about. And while you're lucky, because you actually do have loving lady relatives that will also do for you, you still must understand that their nature is such that it will take and it will take and it will take. And you being the horse and them being the rider, you must at times disobey them. Not only about where you're going, but about when you stop to eat and drink and rest. Because in their minds, they're not the ones doing the walking. You're the one doing the walking. You're the horse. You must understand that if the horse not only dies, but just gets injured and sick, the rider dies. This was a common saying, a common proverb in the southwestern United States in which my father grew up. My father did grow up in a black community, but it was in the southwestern U.S. And one of the common sayings, because it was desert, they could film cowboy movies out there. One of the common sayings that they had was, if the horse dies, the rider dies, because that's desert. So you got to water that horse and feed that horse and look after that horse. And what they meant when they were talking about this was that you have to take care of the man, that the woman is not to merely take from the man and give nothing back in exchange. That's what my father meant when he was talking to me, because he saw me working myself to death, wearing myself to death, trying to make an American wife happy. That's what he meant. And now I got to sit up and tell this to black men, Dr. Brother Omar Ifatunde Johnson. This is what Brother Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, the other Dr. Johnson, has to tell black men. This is what Kevin Samuels is the one telling black women. See, what you don't understand, Brother Johnson, number one is that you sat up here and spent 24 plus minutes out of a 29-minute clip, upload, video, talking to black men about what they need to do differently. You briefly went into the BS of the sisters, which is the real root cause of this. Yes, it is. It's the reason why I'm one-sided. And you went right back into the brothers. And what you don't understand, Dr. Brother Johnson, is that Mr. Samuels, even though you haven't said his name, that's the one you really going in on. And he is actually more on your side than I'm ever going to be, because I'm telling black men, do not approach a black woman in the West. Don't give a white woman a chance at all. Don't approach a black woman in the West at all. If she does not approach you with her stuff together, she doesn't really want you. You have no way of knowing she wants you. Sorry. Shooting that shot by giving you eyes is that's not enough. Because when you approach them and they don't have to do anything to get you, they're not going to stay with you. They're not going to appreciate you. And we've actually had a black woman on some panels say this. BGS heard it. He was on two live streams when women said this. And Edward Allen Anderson has said this. I mean, he heard a lady say this. Daniel George, Dr. Brother Omar Ifatunde Johnson, if you really want to know, Daniel George is the name of one of them. And she spells her name with a Y where it's normally spelled with an I. She, along with Concrete Rose, has a podcast, but she has said on someone else's live stream, black women ain't gonna change till black men leave, because we don't even believe you gonna do anything. She said that. She's pretty much said, with our basic needs met, we ain't got no reason to change. We can go on Plenty of Fish and swipe and get some ding-a-ling. We can get affirmative action jobs. We can get validation and all this other stuff we want. We don't need to be any better for you niggas. I'm paraphrasing what she said, but those are the details of what she was talking about. So you're going in on brothers most of the time. You fail to realize that what you should have done was go in on sisters 100% of the time in that clip and not say nothing to brothers. Because it ain't but a few brothers that even can do all these things you're talking about, using women for sex. Can you use most women for sex that you meet? Don't lie, brother. You can't. Not your fault. There's nothing wrong with you in that regard. But you cannot do so. Most of us cannot. The second thing, though, that you fail to understand, Brother Johnson, this is the last thing. The second thing is the last thing before I go. And this is probably going to be a bit of a subconscious bombshell. In other words, something that you would have been able to pick up on and understand over time. But it would have taken years if I didn't come out and tell it to you. And here it is. Kevin Samuels is more of an ally to you, sir, than I will ever be, even though I started to tell you this a minute ago. And the reason is because he still will try to get that sister in shape, all puns intended, so that she still has a chance with brothers without pushing us away. The difference, see, you want black men and black women to get together, and he actually wants to see the same thing. Although he says, listen, don't push that black man away. But he still wants to see it happen. I and others like me are the ones, actually it's pretty much just me that wants to see black men wholesale turn away from Western black women, except for the ones that not only have all this stuff together that they need, but also approach the men. He is more of an ally to you than I am, and others like me, because he still has a hope. He entertains a hope, and he believes in a marriage and a strong family situation. I believe that black men in the West will never find that with a black Western woman ever again. Unless they find one like Tiffany Banner that's not only willing to move and leave the West, but willing to do it with or without a man. How many black women out there like Tiffany Banner? Because I can tell you, bruh, that's what it's going to take. And she had to leave. She knew she couldn't talk that stuff and stay in the States. She had to bounce. So really, there's a common ground between you and him. Thank God that he's out there telling the sisters what they need to hear. These sisters need to call in and get invalidated by him. Because, see, the difference between you and him is that he says, listen, you know what, gentlemen, you need to rise to the occasion. But hey, hold up, sis. Hold up, lady. You don't get to sit up here and invalidate what he wants. You don't get to do that. What you, Dr. Brother Omar Ifatunde, are doing is you are doing exactly that. You're saying you need to be what these women want, but hey, you know what? Invalidate what you want. You need to look beyond the big strip of booty and the big breasts. It says, no. She needs to be conscious. She needs to watch her weight. She needs to come with the big breasts and the big strip of booty and not a lot of gut to go with it and no bad attitude and domestic skills. That's what she needs to come with. And me saying that right now is entirely too much for sisters. And you're not checking them on it. It's because of men like you that they feel confident to be as bad a deal as they insist on being. It is actually your message that will destroy the black family before Mr. Samuels will. That's the second and last thing you didn't understand. And that's the last I'll say for now. Thank you to the audience for listening. You know who it is. Black Heart, Black Mind, Black Out, Assalamu Alaikum, and black heterosexual, non-select, so-called beta male power just because he don't like it. And black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day.